Hi everybody, myself Dr. H. Chandrasekhar, Selection Grade Lecturer, Department of Civil Engineering of MEI Polytechnic, is presenting today's topic on hydrology. This comes under Unit 2 and this is the session 4 of Water Resource Engineering series. Let us discuss in detail about this hydrology in today's class. In today's topic, in session 4, topics which are covered in today's class is precipitation, different forms of precipitation, types of precipitation and rainfall in India. These are the 4 topics which I will be covering in today's session. Let us have a recap of session 3. What are the things we had discussed in session 3? First we discussed on the introduction of on hydrology, importance of hydrology, practical applications of hydrology and hydrologic cycle. Let us have a brief recap of these topics which we have covered in our previous session. So as I told you in the previous class, hydrology is defined as a science which deals with occurrence, distribution and circulation of water of the earth and earth's atmosphere. Whatever the water which is present in the earth, this water is getting circulated, in the earth and also in earth's atmosphere. How it is circulated? It is in the form of rainfall, it may be in the form of snowfall, and how it is distributed. Distribution may be through rivers, right? So it is distributed through rivers. It may be distributed through evaporation to the atmosphere once again. Like this, the circulation, distribution and occurrence in the form of oceans, in the form of snow, right, in the form of lakes, rivers, this is occurrence. The circulation is the vapor, water vapor getting evaporated and it gets condensed, precipitated back into the atmosphere, into the earth's surface. This is called circulation and distribution. This we call it as, this science we call it as hydrology. What is this? Engineering hydrology deals with. Hydrology is a science of distribution, occurrence and circulation of water. Then what is this engineering hydrology? What this engineering hydrology deals with? The first is estimation of water resources. Engineering hydrology deals with how much quantity of water is available in the earth's surface. We have to do the estimation of these water resources, either the water resources in the rivers, the river flow, how much quantity of water flowing in the river, either the water availability in the reservoirs, right, water flow in the streams. This we call it as estimation of water resources. Secondly, problems of floods and droughts. What are the damages caused by these floods and why droughts occurs? What is the period of interval of floods in the particular river flow, and what are the damages the flood is going to cause and how to prevent these damages? All this comes under hydrology. One example, one case study if we take, if I have not designed a bridge properly without considering the hydrological parameters like flood discharges, right? If I do not design it properly, then there is a chances of overflow. We have to do the design of bridge based on the flood discharges. We have to take the data of past records, right? 35 years records data we have to take and then we have to do the design. This already we have discussed in our previous class. And study of process of precipitation, right? So how to calculate the precipitation, how to find out the runoff, evaporation, interaction, evapotranspiration, all this comes under hydrology. We have already discussed in our previous class. Now importance of hydrology. What is the importance in engineering? Suppose if any designer, right, if you want to design or plan any water resources projects, how this hydrology is important. where we are going to apply these hydrological principles in designing water resources projects. One is irrigation, second water supply, flood control, water power, sediment control, navigation. Already we have discussed all these points in our previous class. Just I am having a glance of what we have discussed in our previous class. Navigation purpose, runoff and soil loss estimation in the catchment, how much quantity of soil is lost in the catchment, and how much quantity of water is flowing in the river. And watershed management, design of stormwater drains, which I have stressed in the previous class, which is very important. If you want to design any stormwater drain, hydrology study is very, very important. That is, urban hydrology is very important, right? And then design of reservoirs, canals, and hydraulic structures. Now coming to the practical applications of hydrology, where this practical hydrology is applied, right? In runoff studies and soil erosion estimation, infiltration study, how much quantity of water is getting infiltrated into the earth's surface, identifying groundwater recharge sites, wherever the water can get recharged into the earth's surface, we have to identify the sites. We can't do the groundwater recharge in all the places because below the geology will not satisfy it. The geology will be different. We have to see where the fractured zones are there. So in such places only the water recharging can be done, groundwater recharging can be done. Right? We can't do groundwater recharge in a place where rock bed is present. So massive rock is present. Right? So that is also one of the applications of hydrology. Water balance study, that is how much quantity of rainfall, how much runoff, how much is evaporated, right? How much is recharge. This estimation that is called water balance studies. And to determine maximum flood discharge in rivers and streams for design of bridges and culverts. Dear students, you can take up any of this as one of your project for your final year, right? This will be very, very useful for you. Whenever you want to become a design engineer in hydrology, so these projects if you do, it will be very helpful for the society and also it will be very helpful for the government agency, right? Because these projects if you start doing in your engineering or in your polytechnic level, okay, by collecting all the data from the department and also synthesizing the data, this will be very helpful and it will be very interesting. So I suggest you people to take any one of this project, right? Okay, determination of recharge capacity, suitable sites for hydroelectric power plants, flood control, irrigation and drainage system design, and water supply for small town or city. If I want to design the water supply for small town or city, this is also one of the practical applications of hydrology. So this is what we have studied in our previous class, and also we studied about hydrological cycle. I will once again give a brief of this hydrological cycle because we have studied this in a previous session in detail, right? See, these are the water which is impounded on the earth's surface in the form of ocean, in the form of reservoir, or in the form of lakes, etc. This water impoundment, because of the sunlight and heat, they get evaporated from the water surface, right? Even the wet soil surface also, the water gets evaporated. This evaporated water rises up to the topmost layer of the atmosphere. There, this vapor, the evaporated water vapor, they gets cooled. Okay, they gets cooled and they gets condensed. The condensation takes place. What is meant by condensation? When this water vapor, right, gets cooled, they once again get converted into water particles, right? Water particle, like the small particles of water vapor, they combine each other, they become heavier, and when they become heavier, they can't able to retain there, they fall back to the earth's surface, right? They fall back to the earth's surface under gravity. This we call it as precipitation. After the condensation taking place, the water particles gets precipitated on the earth's surface either in the form of rainfall, the form of snowfall, mist, etc. This precipitated water flows over the land, right? Flows over the land, and some part of the precipitated water gets infiltrated into the earth's surface, right? And they contribute to the groundwater. And and remaining part they gets stored in the impoundments like lakes, etc. So these are called the impoundments, right? And remaining part of the water starts flowing over the land, and some part of the water is also intercepted by plants, right? The plants leaves gets intercepted, and this is called interception losses. And whatever the water which is stored in lakes, ponds, reservoir, etc., we call it as depression storage. The water gets stored in this depressions, we call it as depression storage, and remaining water flows over the land. That water which flows over the land, we call it as runoff. So this is what the hydrological cycle is. So cycle I am telling, once again this water gets evaporated, the cycle process. Once again the water which is impounded gets evaporated, it gets condensed, the rainfall occurs, the same procedure gets followed, the same cycle repeats, right? So hence this we call it as hydrological cycle, which is very important for any hydrologist. Now coming to whatever the in this session, what are the topics we will be discussing. So first we will be discussing on precipitation, forms of precipitation, types of precipitation, and rainfall in India. Now precipitation, what is the meaning of precipitation? As I mentioned you, in hydrological cycle, the water evaporates from the water surface like streams, rivers. So it gets evaporated from ponds also. Whatever the water surface we have on the earth's surface, this water gets evaporated. Even the water gets evaporated from land also, from soil surface also, and from plants also. Transpiration takes place from plants. The transpiration takes place from the leaves. Transpiration takes place. This is the water vapor. This water vapor rises to the upper atmosphere. They form clouds, right? And these vapor, they get cooled at the topmost layer of the atmosphere. They get cooled. So during the cooling process, condensation takes place. All this water vapor, when they get cooled, they combine each other, they form the heavier particle. Like this you can see, they form heavier particle. This heavier particle falls back onto the earth's surface, either in the form of rain, in the form of snow, hail, sleet. I will tell you what are those. I will explain you in detail about these aspects. And this is called precipitation, right? The condensed water vapor which comes back to the earth's surface, either in the form of rain, snow, hail, sleet. This we call it as precipitation. So these are the different forms of precipitation. Rain, it may be snow, sleet, hail. Okay, so coming to the different forms of precipitation. The first is rain. We will discuss on the forms of precipitation. First is rain. Rain is the principal form of precipitation in India. It's the main, right? So in India, if you take, the rain is the principal form of precipitation. Now, when you call it as a rainfall, when the precipitation is called as a rainfall, the precipitation is called as a rainfall if the drop size is larger than 0.5 mm. So 0.5 mm ಗಿಂತ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇದ್ರೆ ಆ ಡ್ರಾಪ್ಲೆಟ್ ಇರುತ್ತಲ್ಲ, ಆ ಡ್ರಾಪ್ಲೆಟ್ ಸೈಜ್ 0.5 mm ಗಿಂತ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇದ್ರೆ ಅದನ್ನು ನಾವು ರೈನ್ಫಾಲ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. Then once again, based on the intensity of rainfall. So rainfall intensity means it is nothing but the depth of rainfall collected on the earth's surface in unit time. How much depth of rainfall is collected on the earth's surface without considering the infiltration? Whenever the water, entire water, if it gets collected on the earth's surface, right, in a unit time, that we call it as intensity. It may be millimeter per hour or centimeter per hour or millimeter per minute, centimeter per minute. Usually we will be expressing the intensity as millimeter per hour based on the intensity of rainfall, right? It is classified as light rain, moderate rain, heavy rain. When it is said to be light rain, if it is from trace to 2.5 millimeter per hour, then it is called light rain. It is said to be moderate rain if the intensity varies from 2.5 millimeter per hour to 7.5 millimeter per hour. ರೈಟ್, ಸಾಧಾರಣ ಮಳೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ ಇದನ್ನು. 2.5 ಮಿಲಿಮೀಟರ್ ಪರ್ ಅವರ್ ಇಂದ 7.5 ಮಿಲಿಮೀಟರ್ ಪರ್ ಅವರ್ ಮಧ್ಯದಲ್ಲಿದ್ದರೆ ಓಕೆ ಇಂಟೆನ್ಸಿಟಿ, ಅದನ್ನು ಮಾಡರೇಟ್ ರೈನ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. ವೆನ್ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಸೆಡ್ ಟು ಬಿ ಹೆವಿ ರೈನ್ ಇಫ್ ದ ಇಂಟೆನ್ಸಿಟಿ ಈಸ್ ಗ್ರೇಟರ್ ದೆನ್ 7.5 millimeter per hour, then we call this type of rain as heavy rain. This is an example for light rain, the trace to 2.5 millimeter per hour. This is example for moderate rain, 2.5 millimeter per hour to 7.5 millimeter per hour. Heavy rain, heavy downpour, ಭಾರಿ ಮಳೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ ಇದನ್ನು. ಯಾವಾಗ ಭಾರಿ ಮಳೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ? 7.5 millimeter per hour ಡೆಪ್ತ್ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ, ಆ ಡೆಪ್ತ್ ರೈನ್ಫಾಲು 7.5 millimeter ಒಂದು ಗಂಟೆಗೆ ಆ ಡೆಪ್ತ್ 7.5 millimeter ಅಷ್ಟು ಶೇಖರಣೆ ಆದರೆ ನೀರು, ಒಂದು ಗಂಟೆ ಮಳೆ ಬಂದರೆ 7.5 millimeterಗಿಂತ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಶೇಖರಣೆ ಆದರೆ ನೀರು, ಅದನ್ನು ನಾವು ಹೆವಿ ರೈನ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟು ಸ್ನೋಫಾಲ್, ಹಿಮಪಾತ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ ಇದನ್ನು. ಪ್ರೆಸಿಪಿಟೇಷನ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಆಫ್ ಐಸ್ ಕ್ರಿಸ್ಟಲ್ಸ್ ಈಸ್ ನೋನ್ ಆಸ್ ಸ್ನೋಫಾಲ್. ಸ್ನೋ, ಐಸ್, ಮಂಜುಗೆಡ್ಡೆಗಳಿರುತ್ತಲ್ಲ ಅದು ಬೀಳುತ್ತೆ, ಇದನ್ನು ಸ್ನೋ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. ಡ್ರಿಸಲ್, ಡ್ರಿಸಲ್ ಅಂದ್ರೇನು? ಪ್ರೆಸಿಪಿಟೇಷನ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಆಫ್ ಫೈನ್ ಸ್ಪ್ರಿಂಕಲ್ ವಾಟರ್ ಡ್ರಾಪ್ಲೆಟ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಸೈಜ್ ಲೆಸ್ ದೆನ್ 0.5 mm. ನಾನು ಹೇಳಿದೆ ಯಾವಾಗಲೇ, 0.5 mm ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇದ್ದರೆ, 0.5 mm ಅಥವಾ ಅದಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇದ್ದರೆ ಅದನ್ನು ಮಳೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ, ಮಳೆ ಹನಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ತುಂತುರು ಮಳೆ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ ನಾವು. ತುಂತುರು ಮಳೆ ಅಂದ್ರೇನು? ಆ ಮಳೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಆ ಮಳೆ ಒಂದೊಂದು ಹನಿಗಳಿರುತ್ತಲ್ಲ, ಒಂದೊಂದು ಹನಿ 0.5 mm ಕಡಿಮೆ ಇದ್ದರೆ ಅದರ ವ್ಯಾಸ, ಡಯಾಮೀಟರ್, ಸೈಜ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ, ಡಯಾಮೀಟರ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ ಅಥವಾ ವ್ಯಾಸ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. ಈ ವ್ಯಾಸ 0.5 mm ಕಡಿಮೆ ಇದ್ದರೆ ಮತ್ತು ಇಂಟೆನ್ಸಿಟಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ನಲ್ಲ, ಇಂಟೆನ್ಸಿಟಿ 1 millimeter per hour ಕಡಿಮೆ ಇದ್ದರೆ ಇದನ್ನು ಡ್ರಿಸಲ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ, ತುಂತುರು ಮಳೆ ಅಂತೀವಿ. ಹೇಲ್ ನೋಡಿ, ಹೇಲ್ ಅಂತ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು. ಹೇಲ್ ಅಂದ್ರೇನು? ಶವರಿ ಪ್ರೆಸಿಪಿಟೇಷನ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಆಫ್ ಇರ್ರೆಗ್ಯುಲರ್ ಪೆಲೆಟ್ಸ್. ನೋಡ್ಬೋದು ನೀವು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ನೋಫಾಲ್ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಇದು ಮಂಜುಗಡ್ಡೆಗಳು, ದೊಡ್ಡ ದೊಡ್ಡ ಗಾತ್ರದ ಮಂಜುಗಡ್ಡೆಗಳು. ಅದರ ಒಂದೊಂದು ಗಾತ್ರ ಎಷ್ಟಿರುತ್ತೆ, ಅದು ಒಂದೊಂದು ಸೈಜ್ ಎಷ್ಟಿರುತ್ತೆ? 8 mm ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಗ್ರೇಟರ್ ದೆನ್ 8 mm. ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಲಂಪ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಐಸ್ ಸೈಜ್ more than 8 mm. That is showery precipitation in the form of irregular pellets, right? Ice pellets ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ, ಮಂಜುಗಡ್ಡೆಗಳು ಬೀಳುತ್ತೆ. So a size more than 8 mm we call it as hail. This is how the hail, we can see how the snowfall has occurred in a city. And this is glass appearance ತರ ಇರುತ್ತೆ ನೋಡಿ. It is a raindrop of transparent grains. These are the raindrops which will be of transparent grains through air at sub-freezing temperature. It will be form of like a transparent grains ತರ, ಕಾಳುಗಳ ಥರ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಇದನ್ನು ನಾವು ಗ್ಲೇಸ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. ಯಾವಾಗ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದರೆ ಇದು ಸಬ್ ಫ್ರೀಸಿಂಗ್ ಟೆಂಪ್ರೇಚರ್ ತುಂಬ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಇರುತ್ತಲ್ಲ, 0 ಡಿಗ್ರಿಗಿಂತ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಇದ್ದರೆ ಟೆಂಪ್ರೇಚರು, ಆ ಟೈಮಲ್ಲಿ ಮಳೆ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಆವಾಗ ನಾವು ಈ ಥರ ಗ್ಲೇಸ್ ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನು ನಾವು ನೋಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಫ್ರಾಸ್ಟ್, ಎ ಫೆದರಿ ಡೆಪಾಸಿಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಐಸ್ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ಡ್ ಆನ್ ಗ್ರೌಂಡ್, ವಿ ಕಾಲ್ ಇಟ್ ಆಸ್ ಫ್ರಾಸ್ಟ್. ನೋಡಿ ಹೇಗಿದೆ ಮಂಜು ಗೆಡ್ಡೆಗಳು, ಹಿಮಪಾತ ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಇದೆ ನೋಡಿ, ಆ ಹಿಮಪಾತ ಪೂರ್ತಿ ಭೂಮಿ ಮೇಲೆ ಶೇಖರಣೆ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಓಕೆ, ಇದನ್ನ ಎ ಫೆದರಿ ಡೆಪಾಸಿಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಐಸ್ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ಡ್ ಆನ್ ಗ್ರೌಂಡ್ ಈಸ್ ನೋನ್ ಆಸ್ ಫ್ರಾಸ್ಟ್. ದೆನ್ ವಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಫಾಗ್? ಎ ಥಿನ್ ಕ್ಲೌಡ್ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ಡ್ ಆನ್ ಅರ್ತ್ ಸರ್ಫೇಸ್ by condensation of water vapors in atmosphere is known as fog. Okay, thin cloud of formed with whatever the thin cloud if you have, then we call it as a fog. Then mist, a thin fog we call it as mist. This we have experienced during winter season, early morning during winter season, so we may not able to see certain buildings, right? So it is very difficult to identify persons also in this season. So we can see the delay of flights, and vehicles also will be very difficult to move during this early morning time. Okay, so because even runway also not be visible, even highways also will not be visible in the early time. So this is due to this fog. Now we have discussed on different forms of precipitation, right? Now coming to types of precipitation. There are 3 types of precipitation or rainfall. One is called convectional rainfall, next is orographic rainfall, and cyclonic rainfall. We will discuss about 3 types of rainfall now. Now what is this cyclonic precipitation? This precipitation, this is a pictorial view of cyclonic precipitation. Here during cyclonic precipitation, a low pressure will be created at certain point. Okay, so wherever the low pressure is created, the air masses, okay, from the surrounding, either the warm air which is present in the surrounding rushes into the low pressure area in the form of with a very high force. It rushes to that particular place where there is low pressure. Because of this air which gets accumulated at that particular point, okay, with the high force, we call this as cyclones. Okay, and you can also see this type of whirling motion. So it is like suli idiyalla, suli ತರ ಅದು ತಿರುಗ್ತಾ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಗಾಳಿ ಜೊತೆ ಅದು ಮೂವ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. It moves along the wind, right? And it usually hits the coastal region. This forms in the sea. ಸಮುದ್ರದಲ್ಲಿ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಇದು ಸಮುದ್ರದಲ್ಲಿ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಆಗಿ ಅದು ಆ ಭೂಮಿಗೆ ಅಪ್ಪಳಿಸುತ್ತೆ. ಆದರೆ ಯಾವ ರೀಜನಲ್ಲಿ ಅದು ಅಪ್ಪಳಿಸುತ್ತೆ? ಈ ಸೈಕ್ಲೋನ್ ಚಂಡಮಾರುತ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ ಇದನ್ನು. ಇದು ಈ ಕೋಸ್ಟಲ್ ಬೆಲ್ಟ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ ನೋಡಿ. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಬೇ ಆಫ್ ಬೆಂಗಾಲ್ ಮತ್ತು ಅರೇಬಿಯನ್ ಸಿ. ಓಕೆ, ಇದು ಕೋಸ್ಟಲ್ ಬೆಲ್ಟ್ ಇರುತ್ತಲ್ಲ, ಕೋಸ್ಟಲ್ ಬೆಲ್ಟ್ ಇದು ಬೇ ಆಫ್ ಬೆಂಗಾಲ್, ಇದು ಅರೇಬಿಯನ್ ಸಿ. ಇದು ಕೋಸ್ಟಲ್ ಬೆಲ್ಟ್ಗೆ ಇದು ಬಂದು ಹೊಡೆಯುತ್ತೆ, ಇದು ಹಿಟ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. Okay, so this is called cyclonic precipitation. Okay, so this cyclonic precipitation, we can experience this cyclonic precipitation in India during October, right? October, November and December month. During this month we experience this cyclonic precipitation in India. During this cyclonic precipitation, it creates a lot of damages in the coastal regions. Next is convective precipitation. This convective precipitation usually occurs during summer season. What is this convective precipitation? How this convective precipitation is formed? This convective rainfall or convective precipitation occurs during summer season. This is because of the heating of Earth's surface. Because of heavy sunlight in the morning time, the temperature may reach up to 40 degrees, also 36 degrees, 40 degrees. So the temperature will be around this. Because of this temperature, high temperature, the Earth's surface gets heated. What happens when the Earth's surface gets heated? The air surrounding the Earth's surface, right? This also will become warmer. because this air also gets heated because of the earth getting heated. The air which is surrounding the earth's surface also gets heated. When this air gets heated, we know that the air which is the warm air usually will be light in nature, whereas the moist air will be denser in nature. You can see here the heated air masses rises up. Okay, they rises up and they gets condensed at the top surface. When this air, warm air rises, what happens to the cool air which is present at the top? They travels down, they moves down. This cooled air also gets heated up and there will be the continuous motion of the hot air and cooled air. There will be circulation. And during this circulation, whatever the warm air which is raised at the top, most layer of the earth's atmosphere, they get condensed, right? When they gets condensed, it results in heavy downpour. It results in heavy storm. Not only storm, you can also feel some thunders. ಗುಡುಗು ಸಹಿತ ಭಾರಿ ಮಳೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರಲ್ಲ, ಇದನ್ನೇ ಇದು ಕನ್ವೆಕ್ಟಿವ್ ಪ್ರೆಸಿಪಿಟೇಷನ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳೋದು. ಇನ್ನೊಂದು orographic precipitation. What is this orographic precipitation or orographic rainfall? Orographic precipitation is caused by air masses which strike some natural barriers like mountains. ಸೊ ಯಾವುದಾದ್ರೂ ಈ ಪರ್ವತಗಳಿರುತ್ತೆ ನೋಡಿ, ಬೆಟ್ಟಗಳು ಮತ್ತು ಪರ್ವತಗಳಿರುತ್ತಲ್ಲ, ಈ ಥರ ಮೌಂಟೇನ್ಸ್, ದೀಸ್ ಏರ್ ಮಾಸಸ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರೈಕ್ಸ್ ದ ಮೌಂಟೇನ್. ವೆನ್ ದೀಸ್ ಏರ್ ಮಾಸಸ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರೈಕ್ ದ ಮೌಂಟೇನ್, here whatever the warm air, they gets cooled air, condensation takes place. Because they can't move further, the condensation takes place and then results in rainfall. This is called windward side, this is leeward side. Whenever the wind moves in this direction, the clouds moves here and they get condensed and results in rainfall. So orographic rainfall is the rainfall. 70% of rainfall in India is result of this orographic precipitation. These are the three types of rainfall. Which are the three types of rainfall? One is called cyclonic precipitation, convective precipitation, right, and orographic precipitation. These are the three types of precipitation. Now coming to rainfall in India. Rainfall in India. The rainfall seasons in India is broadly classified as southwest monsoon, it is between June to September. Next is post monsoon, October to February. Now we are in post monsoon season. Pre-monsoon from March to May. Now the southwest monsoon. The southwest monsoon is the principal rain season of India, which we receive 75% of annual rainfall. ವಾರ್ಷಿಕ ಮಳೆಯಲ್ಲಿ 75% ಈ ಸೌತ್ ವೆಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾನ್ಸೂನಿಂದ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಪೋಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾನ್ಸೂನ್, ಓಕೆ, ಪೋಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾನ್ಸೂನ್ ಅಂದರೆ ಹಿಂಗಾರು ಮಳೆ ಅಂತೀವಿ. ಆಸ್ ದ ಸೌತ್ ವೆಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾನ್ಸೂನ್ ರಿಸೀಡ್ಸ್, ಈಗ ಸೌತ್ ವೆಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾನ್ಸೂನ್ ಆದಮೇಲೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಕೆಲವು ಜಾಗದಲ್ಲಿ ಲೋ ಪ್ರೆಷರ್ ಏರಿಯಾಸ್ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಆಗಿ, ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಬೇ ಆಫ್ ಬೆಂಗಾಲಲ್ಲಿ ಈಗೇನು ನಮಗೆ ಈ ಸೀಸನಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆ, ಇದು ಪೋಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾನ್ಸೂನ್ ಅಂತೀವಿ. ಸೊ ಲೋ ಪ್ರೆಷರ್ ಏರಿಯಾ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟೆಡ್ and in this low pressure area which is created results in cyclonic rainfall. I told you about how the cyclonic rainfall will occur. Next is pre-monsoon, ಮುಂಗಾರು ಮಳೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. This our country receives very little rainfall during this period, and during this period the country is experienced with thunderstorms. I told you about this. Thank you.